Hello guys, thank you so much for sparing your time to be here with us again. This is Track Mind TV and the show is Flashpoint. I am your host, Sharon, and today we have an amazing guest. Hi Steve.
Hi.
Thank you for gracing this invite.
I'm honored.
We are so excited to have you here. So today we'll be talking about thriving in the marketplace, and we have Steve here who has given me a bio of who he is, and I am in awe.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's really dope.
Yes.
Again for the 50th time.
Yeah.
So, are you affected by the pressure to keep up with appearances that we see on social media, or how do you handle social media pressure now that your space again is a social media? It's sort of a social media space as well. Do you feel the pressure to have a certain image on different social media platforms?
Yes, everybody does.
Oh, wow.
Everybody in our generation does.
I thought you'd be that person for no.
Every generation Z does.
Yeah.
I'm not in any social media currently. Let me tell you what.
Oh.
When I completed campus, you are meeting all these big people, and I could see a group of my friends who I would say probably were in the same level. You'd see them when they're in these big hotels, they're posting. When they've met this big person, they're posting in their social media platform. What do you think this other person without a job is thinking? They are thinking, hao wamebarikiwa, mi God anipendi. So they have all this kind of pressure just mounted on them, and I could see people, they are just posting, they are here, this is where they have reached, they've bought a car, they've done all this, and I was like, I think this social media is doing more harm than good. And that's how I left social media platforms, because I felt the story sharing has changed. It's when for example we argue here, I never see it in social media, but when we go to a good place, Kama Kempinski, ka selfie,
I'm like, yeah, look
yes,
at me, I'm
yes,
in a good space.
Yes. So that builds a very wrong culture, which I don't think social media was established for that, but it has morphed with our generation. It has become a place for bragging. It has become a place for forming identity. Even though you're not bragging, your life is down there, it's a place you want to find out. But when you now school, wanafanya nini.
But funny enough, I'm on social media, like I'm really active on social media. But I never find myself going to people places like, where are they now? What are they doing now? And I do understand what you're saying, and there's studies to prove that what you're saying is right as well. And there's this quote, and I want to just get a feel of what you think about it. They were saying, if you see my post and you think I'm bragging, you're probably the one who's jealous. What do you think about that? Because I think at times, of course, there are people who don't share their success, and they're just people who are that way. And then there are people like me who are, okay, I wouldn't put everything on social media, but I'll definitely put my eyes up on my social media page. But I have also been able to put my lows on social. Like, there's one point I was really vulnerable, and I remember I was crying, and I put it up on my stories, and it was just me showing people I have bad days as well, and when it knocks me proper. So how do you feel about people who say,
jealous?
Listen, I'm not showing off. You're the one who's looking at it with a jealous eye. How do you feel about that?
Every one of us has feelings.
Very true.
If somebody were to come here and he was to give you a car, and they don't give me a car, I'll feel something.
You'll feel something,
I'll feel something. So the bit of this is something we cannot deny. This is something that is in every human being. Now, I'll look at that question in another way. Let's look at it as this way. Where are all these pressures? Where are young people committing a lot of suicide?
It's coming from social media.
I just shared with you a story of this lady.
This TikToker.
Who has she had actually, by the time she was committing suicide, she had the most following on TikTok. She had a personal brand manager. She's 16 years old.
She had a lot going on for herself.
Yes. And she committed suicide. She left a suicide note. And one of the things she said is she was in a pressure. She felt she needed to be a better version of herself, a better version of herself, a better version of herself. And like I said earlier, there's nothing wrong with putting a goal, but you have to do it both, like where you said you've done. Do it in the highs and in the lows, so that guys are able to know, hey, it happens.
Yes.
It happens, yes.
Yeah.
But no, let me give you another category of people. There are so many, because I've got to interact with so many of them.
Yeah, now that you have an app.
Yes, and even celebrities, some of them, they've told me they have 2 accounts.
Yeah.
One ni the public account that people know them for.
Yeah.
Then kuna hii ingine, the only followers they were church na businesses.
Yeah.
Things that they feel
people
inspired.
Who are personal to them, yeah.
Yes. So that's the kind of thing we are trying to create with stories. It's something that at the end of the day you can go, you can read stories, you can get inspired. There's a bit actually we ask, what's the feeling when you're creating this story? Not the feeling you're having the entire day, but the feeling that story actually reminds you of.
So just to speak about your app, do people share their stories in writing or in videos, or do they share in both? Both writing and videos.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What do you think about people not sharing their dark moments?
Now I would see that as not being authentic, because being authentic and life having authenticity, you can't just be on top of the building and there's no staircase here. How did you get there? You need to explain to people how you got there. Either you are a thief or because
it's not magic.
It's not magic.
There was a process.
Yes, there was a process. How did you just suddenly get there?
And most people don't tell their stories actually because they feel like, oh, they'll steal this idea from me or
Actually, I see that as being dishonest.
Yeah. You're not being entirely truthful about your process.
Then ni kama fika hapo juu then unatoa ladder.
Yeah.
Unachukua juu
you just stay there now. You look at people from up there.
And there's something also to it. Young people, when I've been talking to young people, I wasn't, it's something that you think and you look at young people and now you're trying to think what is actually happening. And I discovered one thing, all of us, we have the wrong definition of success. We tend to think success is, like that guy on top there, it's like you fly and then get on top there. But the real definition of success is a staircase, which is made up of failures and lessons. You learn something, you go on top. You learn something, you go on top. Now, this is what happens. Every one of us starts on that journey. Yes?
Wanted to explain to your point.
Okay. Success, the stairs.
Yeah, so success is a staircase. Now, what I've come to see is every one of us starts on that staircase to success. Everyone has started. But once they make a mistake, they bash themselves down and they tell themselves, you never reach there, no, this is wrong, look at you, you failed. I made a lot of mistakes. Every successful person has made a lot of mistakes. But one thing you actually discover along the way is that mistake is actually a stepping stone.
It's a stepping stone. That's how you learn.
Yes. So you learn it, then apply it.
You learn and then move. Learn to move. Learn to move. I love that. I love that.
Yes.
In relation to what you've just told us, what would you tell your younger self?
That's interesting. I think I would, if I were to go to some few years younger than my age right now, what I would do more is
you haven't really thought about it.
I haven't really thought about it. what I would do differently, but what I would say to young people,
actually,
because I think it's similar. What I would say to young people is to start, because the app we began on it when I was I just had the interest in first year, and I started writing down. In fact, the book I started to kind of write down how I wanted the app to look like.
Yeah,
I was second year, so it started in second year. And in third year is when now we began designing it. So in third year we began designing it, and that's when we began developing it. So my actually becoming a CEO started at second year, only that people never knew I was a CEO.
So you had this idea,
yes,
you cultivated
yes,
it, you worked through it.
Yes. So from that year, began building on it. So I would say, don't just say that you're a student. Take advantage of that time. Because ukitoka huku nje, I've never worked for anyone by the grace of God. Because I left, I started my own company, I started to employ. So I would say, it's actually an opportunity they have. And they don't know that, because you're not paying any bills. You're just schooling. Everything is being met by your parents most of the times. So they can take advantage of the time and do something more that, maybe they can build something, come up with something. And even those who are looking for employment, they can come up with portfolios. Because companies like myself, I never employ based on your CV. I never employ based on
your academic,
No. What have you done? What are your skills? So, and most of these guys that I've taken, they are very good. They built them because they started building apps or they started designing when they were yet students. So that's it. Let's begin doing
you need the skill.
Yes, you need the skill even to get that job.
That's amazing. What is the connection of what you do right now in ministry?
I think that's a ball game. Because I think I wanted to be a missionary.
Wow.
I wanted to be a missionary. In fact, when I finished high school, I talked to my parents and I told them, be a missionary, I'll go to ministry. You guys will support me. And my parents were like, hey, Kijana, we are educating you, it's idea,
I know, because that's the whole idea.
We are educating you so that one day. Yes. But you are like, we're heading to ministry. What is this? And so I went to be missionary. Actually, that's how I took anthropology, because that was my goal. That's what I wanted to become. But I still had this thing in me of business, and I wanted to do business. And one day, it was like something raging inside your heart. It was like a 50-50. It's like two pieces. I used to feel I love business 50%, and there's this thing to do with ministry and preaching and all these 50%. They were like raging inside of me. And when I was in that day, I read the story of William Colgate. William Colgate is the founder of Colgate. And he wasn't actually, let me tell you a short story about him. He wasn't actually born again. And he did his businesses and he failed terribly and his company went down. And then just in a random conversation with a friend of his, and he tells him, by the way, if you would commit your ways, he quotes Proverbs, to God, he would actually establish them. And he would become successful. And he thinks, so you mean if I would, and that's how he became a Christian. And he started fearing God, and he started reading the Bible. And then he started reading the Bible, Genesis. And then he reaches this place at Jacob when he was traveling. And Jacob prays to God and he tells him, if you bless me, I go to where I'm going after, he was to go and get a wife. After you bless me, I go there and I come back with my wife and things that you would entrust upon me, that everything you give me, I'll give you a tenth. So Colgate reads this and he's like, And he prays the same prayer and he tells God, I'll start a business. If you bless me, a tenth. Everything that you give me, I give you a tenth. That's why he started Colgate. And so he gave, by the time he was dying, he had done over 50% of giving. He's actually the one who began most universities that we would know, Christian University. He funded most of them. He funded most of the mission work that we would. So many of the missionaries who came to Africa were courtesy of the organizations that they started long time ago, and that story is so inspirational, and it's a story that after I read that story, I knew exactly this is what I was feeling in my heart. I was feeling this sense of missions and this sense of business at the same time, and that's how I knew I was called into this, and it was confirmed through prophetic words and stuff like that, and boom, we've reached where we've reached.
So you hope to get to a point where your business will be able to give back to the community through a way of ministering God's word.
Yes.
That's
we give back to the community in many ways, in charity form, in just ideally. I look forward to a time when I will surpass actually what Colgate did with 50%. I want to go a daring 90 to 100%.
Oh,
yeah,
that's a lot.
Yes.
Now I get why you wanted to become how do you say now what?
A missionary.
A missionary.
Yes.
It makes sense because that's the only way missionaries think, you know.
Yeah. So because now there are a lot of people who it's actually in psychology. It's a psychological level. Let me give you an example.
Yeah.
Warren Buffett.
Yes.
And Warren Buffett, I think he says by the time he's dying, he'll have spent around 2% of his wealth.
Wow.
What happens is, right now he was asked, what does he love to do? He says, what he really loves to do is to just go in a class in a university and just teach.
Wow.
The children, I think, want to be teachers. You find that when somebody like they say in psychology, we have this level of needs, and actually the highest of them is to help other people. And in psychology, they normally say that most people get there when they are old, but in Christianity, you get there
when you're young.
When you know Christ.
Which
now your brother, your sister. That's what Christ now brings in. Your brothers, your sister, your brother's keeper, and that's what I want to see and foster around the globe, where people like in Asia and all those places, people are not actually dying of hunger, and there's a lot of killing each other. There's a lot of wars. There are people assume that Kenya is the worst country with corruption.
No, we have people who are doing worse. Yeah,
this is one of the safe harbors. In the other side, in this world.
In the other side, we are on that list, but
other than corruption or just thank God that you are in that place where nobody is threatening you with your own life.
Yeah. Where being black is a crime.
Yes,
I do understand that.
You can worship at any time and nobody can actually tell you. Yes,
I hear you, and we honestly pray that God multiplies whatever you're doing with tenfold and stuff like that. So how does your app work? Can anyone upload their stories?
Yes, anyone can actually upload their stories. Anyone, and actually a story, what people normally confuse is they think let me share a story now. Which story will I share? It's just a normal post like any other post. Even this is a story in itself. Just don't filter anything. That's what we mean by story. It's not like thinking story gani kwa life yangu nitashare. No. It's the
get on the app and be authentic.
And just be authentic.
Okay.
I love that. Get on the app and be authentic.
It's a normal post. Be your true self.
Yes. Like you would post in any other places.
Yeah.
But when you get inside the app, be authentic. It's the same way with IG. In IG, you never do a post you are taking with with like a kabambe phone or something. You have to get a good quality camera before you go
phone,
to. Yes. So, but for us, we just saying get inside there, be authentic. That's it.
Okay. So, do you monetize your stories, or do you run ads to monetize?
Yeah.
You do that?
No.
Okay.
We are on a growing phase.
Okay.
But it's something that we are in discussion about. It's something that we may implement sometime for the sake of sustainability or something,
sure.
But we will implement it in a different way.
Okay.
For example, maybe a company like Safaricom wants to advertise with us. We want to change it. I think the studies are even showing that companies are doing better when they tell their brand story. So when Safaricom comes on board, we'll tell them, don't just market, tell your story. Let me give you a story of Safaricom that people don't know. Most of us, any young person akisikia, any young person akisikia about Safaricom, tunasemanga asiniwe, sindio? I love how you compound.
It's natural.
Yes. But now, let me tell you something about Safaricom. Kenya is actually the second country in Africa most technologically advanced.
Yeah.
I attribute 80% of this to Safaricom.
Very true.
Because it has driven most of the innovation. Even people who come up with something, you find some of them worked in Safaricom some other time. So that's a story that Safaricom needs to get out there. That's something that people don't know. Because when people know your story, they form kind of a relationship with you.
Yeah.
They identify with you. They will compliment you. Sometimes they will understand you and stuff like that. So we need to share our stories. So even though we may introduce advertising, it will be in the form of story sharing. Share your story as a company. Why are you there? Why do you exist? Don't just advertise to them. Share a story.
Amazing. So where can we find the stories at?
Ingia pale Play Store. Search stories with a Z at the end, or stories app. download it and begin sharing authentic stories.
So you can find it on
Google Play Store.
On Google Play Store?
Yes.
Are you on Apple?
No, we are not on
yet.
App Store. We're coming.
You're coming?
Yes.
Alright, so you can find the Stories app on Play Store?
Yes.
So if you have an Android phone, please do go ahead and support Steve here and the startup that he has so much spoken about, and that is amazing, and that is just encouraging you guys at home and me as well to be authentic and tell our stories. Steve, thank you so much for honoring our invite. It was amazing having you.
Thank you for having me.
I hope you guys have enjoyed this show. Please leave your questions and comments down below in the comment section, because we would definitely love to chat up with you guys and hear what you have to say. Until then, stay safe and bye.